In this video, I'm going to talk about how I use my CRM to book gigs.
How'd you do that?
I see that success is not something you pursue, it is something you are.
All right, so I considered three types of CRMs when I was looking at the CRMs that I was going to buy. I considered three different ones, and the first one that I considered was Salesforce. And the reason why is because Salesforce is the big dog in the industry. I mean, they're worth billions of dollars, and they integrate with everything. So all the tools that you need, I mean, all of it integrates with Salesforce. So even though Salesforce wasn't really the best CRM in terms of all the reviews that I read, it's just the fact that they integrated with every single tool out there, which is why I considered them. The other one that I considered was Pipedrive. In Pipedrive, a lot of salespeople said, oh, Pipedrive is the best, and it's just really streamlined, and it's perfect. But the one I went with was Base CRM. And Base CRM, I went with that just because there's multiple things in terms of what it can do, and also because it integrates a lot of emails into it. But I'm going to walk you through basically the CRM that I use and how it's all set up. What you want to do with CRMs is you just want to use a CRM just so you can actually keep track of what you're doing, because at a certain point you're going to get to a point where you're contacting so many people, it's going to be ridiculous to try to keep track of it in a spreadsheet or in your head. So you want to make sure that you're using the CRM just so you can really keep track of everything, and it tells you why you are where you are. So one of the things that I tell people in the Speak Pro Academy is like, hey guys, keep track of your numbers. How many people are you contacting every day? How many of those replied to you? Keep track of your numbers, because it tells you why you are where you are. If you really look at your numbers and you see, oh, well, today I only contacted 2 people, and oh, for the week I only contacted 10, and you have no gigs lined up, you have no clients whatsoever, the reason is because of those numbers. There's freaking nobody there. So the CRM, it lets you filter out, okay, how many leads did I generate today? How many did I contact? And well, at least Base CRM, it lets you do that. I'm sure Salesforce and Pipedrive, it lets you do that too. But it lets you keep track of your numbers so you can see what you're doing, why it's working, and all that. So make sure you get a CRM for one, but here are the steps. So the first thing that I do is number one, I put the events, I put the leads into the CRM. So Base CRM, it has a lead section. So bam, I get all these events and throw them into the lead section. And so that's number one. Number two is I essentially, once I get a certain amount of leads, usually it's no more than 100, I'll get about 100 leads, and then I'll put them, I'll make sure they're all lined up, and then I'll go to the email section of Base CRM and I'll send out a mass email. And the mass email, it'll be sent to all 100. It'll say, just get sent to everybody. This way, I'm just being more efficient with my time. After all the emails are sent, now the replies start to come back, and this is where I start to qualify the leads. So people are replying and they're like, oh yeah, we think you're God's gift to earth, and they're replying, and basically I reply back to them. This is where I'm qualifying. So whatever they say, it doesn't really matter what they say in a reply, I reply back, just like a normal conversation that you're having with people. And then I immediately set a follow-up date. So as soon as they say anything whatsoever, I reply back. And then in Base CRM, I now set a follow-up date, and this just reminds me of when to talk to them again. So that's why a CRM is a million times better than something like a spreadsheet, because a spreadsheet, you can't really do that kind of stuff. Once the people respond, I respond back. Then I turn the qualified ones into actual deals in the CRM. So I'm assuming in Pipedrive, Salesforce, all the CRMs, they might call them deals, they might call them opportunities, whatever they call them, but it goes from a lead, then the lead, I send the emails out, and then once the emails come back and I'm talking to them, anyone who's interested, I now click deal, I click convert, and it turns into a deal, and I quote them whatever price I quote them, and then I set another follow-up date. This is just to remind me to say, hey, you gotta, if you don't get the contract back or you don't get a reply back, then bam, hit them up again. And so the follow-up date for that is usually just a couple of days, because as soon as I quote someone, I don't want them to take 3 weeks to reply back. So I usually send another email in a couple of days. And then after that, in the CRM, there's going to be a lot of events that haven't hired me, or they reply back and they say, no, we're not interested. And there's a lot of them in there. I don't just delete them immediately. A lot of times I'll go back, especially if it's an event that I really want to do, I'll go back and then I'll just look at some events and I'll say, okay, let me contact them again. And let me contact them again. And I'll do this for months. I mean, like a long time. I think the longest I did it for was like 2 years. But I'll do it for a long time, to where I'll just keep contacting them. I'll look at the events that I already contacted. Maybe they did reply, didn't reply, whatever it is, I'll just keep contacting them. Now with the base CRM, just real quick about it, they have several things. The reason why I chose this is because you can track emails, and you want to make sure you're tracking to see if people are opening your emails, make sure it's the right email. So you can track the emails, you can customize the emails. They have this mail merge type thing where you can say like hi, and then name, and then it insert their name, and then you can put in just like custom fields in there. So it's really cool. It has something called Smart List. So Smart List, it basically allows me to filter all the leads and everything that I'm doing. So I can see where my best events come from. I can see the last time that I emailed them, the last time I contacted them. So the Smart List is, it's freaking great. And it has a great search function. But basically a CRM is useless unless you know how to use it. Just because you have a CRM doesn't mean you're gonna get a ton of sales, doesn't mean you're gonna get clients, doesn't mean anything. Just because you have a CRM, it literally means nothing. A CRM is only as good as the person using it. So if you're gonna use a CRM like Base, Salesforce, Pipedrive, all the other CRMs that are out there, you gotta make sure that you know exactly what you're doing. You make sure you know how to go from lead to qualify to close, and that's pretty much the entire process. If you haven't spent any money on a CRM, if you haven't bought one, you got to buy one, because it really shows the level of commitment that you have towards your own business. It's ridiculous that someone wouldn't spend money on their business. And so if you're not willing to spend at least $25 a month on your business, you're not really serious about your business. So you got to make sure that you buy a CRM, no matter which one it is, and you got to make sure that you're using it right. So that's pretty much how I use my CRM to book all my gigs, and that's the process. Of course, there's more details, but make sure that you're using your CRM and you're just being awesome.